The 19th century European banking sector operated through highly aggressive financial mechanics that are very often obscured by romanticized historical narratives. This is the second installment of our 8-part series deconstructing the Committee of 300. The orthodox narrative of the Rothschild financial empire begins in the modest streets of the Jewish ghetto in Frankfurt, Germany. History textbooks maintain that Mayer Amschel Rothschild built his operation gradually, relying on innate financial acumen as a local pawnbroker and rag-and-bone merchant. Dr. John Coleman, a former professional intelligence officer, presents a drastically different model. His research in the British Museum outlines a timeline of rapid capitalization. Coleman's framework rests on two distinct pillars: foundational wealth acquired via explicit embezzlement, which was then multiplied through systemic market manipulation. This video will clinically deconstruct the specific financial mechanics Coleman outlines in his research. We will trace the exact sequential operations used to convert a localized, static pool of capital into a continent-wide financial monopoly. Substituting an organic growth narrative with Coleman's model of embezzlement and arbitrage provides a different framework for how 19th century geopolitical power was consolidated. To understand the origin of the foundational capital, we must examine Mayer Amschel's role as the financial manager for the Landgrave of Hesse-Cassel. The Landgrave possessed immense liquid wealth, generated by renting his Hessian mercenary soldiers to the British government to fight in the American Revolution. The geopolitical landscape shifted abruptly when Napoleon's military advanced into the region, forcing the Landgrave to abandon his territory. Fleeing the French forces, the Landgrave left his vast liquid fortune entirely in the stewardship of his financial manager, Mayer Amschel. Traditional accounts claim this wealth was safely hidden away in wine casks to protect it from French soldiers, and eventually returned intact to the Landgrave. Coleman's model argues this was an act of theft by conversion. Theft by conversion is a legal and financial concept where a person legally entrusted with an asset unlawfully converts that asset for their own personal use or profit. Coleman asserts that Mayer Amschel embezzled this accumulated blood money and transferred it entirely to his son, Nathan Rothschild, who was stationed in London. This misappropriated wealth provided an immediate liquidity base that exceeded the growth rate of standard retail banking. This initial theft by conversion supplied the exact capital velocity and mass necessary to execute all subsequent international market operations. With the Hessian capital in hand, Nathan Rothschild relocated to the northern industrial town of Manchester to deploy this liquidity into the textile market. His strategy relied on the Von Thurn and Taxis postal intelligence network acting as a proprietary data source. The Von Thurn and Taxis network was an exclusive, privately operated postal system that delivered early intelligence across Europe. Because of this specific network, the Rothschilds possessed advanced, non-public knowledge that war with Napoleon was imminent. This created severe information asymmetry. Information asymmetry is a condition in which one party in a transaction possesses material knowledge that the other party lacks. Nathan anticipated British government contracts for army uniforms, purchasing the total available stock of military cloth before manufacturers entered the market. When those manufacturers received their contracts, they found zero supply, forcing them to repurchase materials from Nathan at a 300% markup. This maneuver caused severe economic devastation in Manchester, generating a violent public uproar that forced Nathan to retreat to the London Stock Exchange for safety. Weaponizing information asymmetry transforms a standard commodity market into a captive wealth extraction mechanism, accelerating capital growth without producing new value. The Manchester operation successfully multiplied the stolen capital. Nathan then routed this expanded liquidity to finance the Duke of Wellington's military campaigns against Napoleon. Nathan initiated this phase by purchasing Wellington's distressed war bonds, like this document, at a massive 50% discount. The calculated intent was to eventually collect on the paper at its full original par value, the face value printed directly on the certificate. Concurrently, Nathan executed a secondary mechanism by selling physical gold directly to Wellington. Immediately following the sale, Nathan contractually repurchased that exact same physical gold from Wellington. The repurchased gold was never shipped. Nathan routed the asset as paper orders to his agents in Portugal. The loop was closed by agents in Frankfurt settling the final accounts. Throughout the entire transaction, no physical gold was ever transported to Wellington's front lines. By purchasing the debt at a 50% discount, charging for the initial gold sale, and managing the paper transfer, Nathan netted an overlapping 100% profit margin on the operation. Military finance arbitrage decouples physical supply logistics from paper profit, maximizing financial returns while eliminating the physical risks of war. By 1815, the European economic landscape was defined by systemic financial instability. The post-war calamities across England, Russia, France, Austria, and Prussia created massive deficits. During this period, the 5 Rothschild brothers positioned themselves geographically, operating a synchronized intelligence and banking network across these specific European capitals. Their core operational mechanism became the targeted acquisition of defaulted or near-default government bonds. Distressed sovereign debt was acquired at massive discounts. After a strategic holding period to consolidate these assets, the network applied coordinated political pressure. The explicit goal was to force deeply indebted governments to redeem the distressed bonds at their full original face value. By 1830, Nathan Rothschild acted as the primary financial agent for more than half of Europe's sovereign governments, demonstrating the scale of this wealth extraction. By consolidating distressed sovereign debt and applying coordinated political pressure, state geopolitical power was subjugated to private financial control. The complete progression of the Coleman model traces a path from the initial theft of Hessian capital to the international leverage of sovereign debt. The accumulation of immense wealth alone is insufficient to secure geopolitical dominance. In this framework, the consolidation of influence requires a synthesis of sudden liquidity, superior intelligence networks, and the manipulation of state economies. This model directly challenges the orthodox history of European finance, replacing a narrative of gradual banking acumen with a sequence of calculated market extractions. Thank you for engaging with this rigorous breakdown of alternative historical finance. This channel relies on independent, critical thinkers to analyze these complex texts and challenge standard historical narratives. Please hit the like button, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to the Bookish Breakdown so you do not miss Part 3 of our Committee of 300 series. Keep reading, and I will see you in the next breakdown.